What's up, guys? Welcome, Daily Theologians. I'm so glad you're here. Today's topic is a bit ahead of the curve because Christmas is coming. And a recent sermon from John MacArthur in the podcast app got me thinking about this topic. So you're going to want to stick around about Christmas and how believers should celebrate it. John MacArthur is going to weigh in from 1980. So since we're in the time machine, the age-old question that rolls around every December is, how do Christians react to Christmas? How do we react to Santa? And I think we would all agree that Christmas is a great time of year, and it's a time where people are very open to receiving the gospel. And I think there are some very, very good things with the Christmas season, especially for evangelism and Christmas cards. People are very open to receiving Christmas letters about the gospel or gospel tracts about the gospel because they're already kind of in that mentality. But MacArthur weighed in and said some things that I think are necessary for us to counterbalance some of the commercialism and some of the cultural things that are just not biblical. And he does this, not surprisingly, from the year 1980. So get ready to get in your DeLorean and check out this clip from a sermon that he preached in 1980, before I was born.
I'd invite you to take your Bible and turn to Philippians chapter 2. Philippians chapter 2. And I want to take as the text of our Christmas message verses 6 through 11. Philippians 2, 6 through 11. Now, before we read the text and specifically present what the Spirit of God has said, let me just set our thoughts in context. At Christmas, we are confronted again, and I'm sure you're aware of it, with the sometimes very difficult task of separating the reality of Christmas from the clutter that surrounds that reality. There's so much confusion that sometimes you feel like the real Christmas story is like a diamond lost in a haystack. It just seems impossible to find. Christmas has really become a hopeless muddle of confusion. The humility and the poverty of the stable are somehow confused with the wealth and indulgence and selfishness of gift-giving. The quietness of Bethlehem is mingled with the din of shopping malls and freeway traffic. The soberness of the incarnation is somehow mixed with the drunkenness of this season. Blinking colored lights somehow have some connection to the Star of Bethlehem. The room in the inn, so obscure, so dirty, with such meager fare, somehow embraces the thought of a warm house, a fireplace, and opulent feasting. Cheap plastic toys for little kids with which to play out their follies are mixed with the true value of the gifts given by wise men. Salesmen somehow get mixed up with shepherds. Angels are confused with flying reindeer, one of which even has a red nose. The pain of childbirth is mixed with the parties. The filth of the stable is confounded with the whiteness of fresh snow, and then there's Mary, Joseph, Perry Como, and Bing Crosby. And so it goes. The great reality of Christmas, which is the glory of the Lord being revealed, is obscured by so much tinsel and activity and commercialism. And I think it's true that Santa Claus really has become the focus of Christmas for most people, and I've noted in the years that I've been ministering that more and more each year Santa Claus takes a dominant place. In fact, it's amazing, but I think some people have trouble confusing Santa Claus with Jesus, if you can imagine that.
So, strong words. Now, as you pick your jaw up from the floor, I know there are people, Christians, believers, on both sides of this issue. So I would encourage you not to be the anti-Christmas person, the curmudgeon that just says, well, it's pagan and all these things are all bad, because you want to redeem the time knowing the days are evil. We know this. Redeem the time. Don't throw the opportunity in the trash can. And so when I saw this from MacArthur, I think it's a good balance. I was a little bit, I think I disagreed a little bit at first, but the sense is keeping the focus on the gospel. I don't think it's wrong to have a nice house or like a warm house or celebrate Christmas with friends and family. His point, though, is that it's become this congealed mess that is inseparable from the true Jesus. And I think that's very important. That's actually the key idea here. It's not the other things are wrong. It's that it's coming over and making Christmas something that it isn't. And so remember, it's not about the toys. It's not about the things that he listed there. Those were hard things that he said in 1980. Wow, he's been faithful for so many years. And I'm greatly encouraged by MacArthur's focus on the gospel. You see, that's where we have to keep our focus. Don't become a curmudgeon, an anti-Christmas Santa is Satan. And we tell our kids that Santa isn't real. We don't lie to them and say it's for fun. We tell them it's about Jesus. And I would encourage you as parents to consider that as well. I don't think it's ever right to lie to our children about the Easter Bunny or anything that's not true. We want to be truthful. When we want to be honest about these things, that it's about Jesus' perfect life, death, burial, and resurrection. The Christmas story is most important because Adam fell. So we needed a second Adam, a last Adam, and that's Jesus. He fulfilled the law perfectly, sinlessly at all times. And R.C. Sproul, in his book, The Holiness of God, rightly points this out. The great commandment is the great condemnation. I don't know if he says it exactly that way, but I wrote it that way as I was listening to it. In other words, this idea that you can love God perfectly with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength should terrify you. As an unbeliever, it should horrify you. And as a believer, we can't do that for one moment because that bar is so high and our thoughts are evil continually, though now we're redeemed, so we have a new nature. But the example from the book is Sproul uses the rich young ruler that says, I've kept all these. Well, of course, he hadn't kept those commandments. He was an idolater, and Jesus exposed that for his love of money. If you've ever had kids, you know the rich young ruler was not perfect his entire life. He was delusional. And so the point of Sproul and the point of MacArthur is to keep the focus on the cross. Keep the cross before us, behind us, in front of us, always around us, especially at Christmas time. And I want to encourage you to consider including the gospel in your Christmas cards. Consider writing a gospel letter in your Christmas card. People are already going to get those. You're already sending them. Why not redeem that use in love to share the gospel and keep people's eyes on the gospel? Not in a condemning way, not in a, I know you think Christmas is about Santa, some kind of like bitter old man way. Don't do that. But be kind and gracious and do it well for the glory of God. And if you're still watching this, remember to hammer that like button. Like the 95 Theses and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about Christmas. I would encourage you not to go to the extreme of being that guy that hates everything Christmas. Just use it. Recognize you're in a lost culture and hold up the gospel. Thanks for watching. God bless.